So I felt there is something different about our sun for a while now. And I swear, where I've applied my usual SPF 30, I can still feel my skin is burning. So a bit later on, I discovered Mr. MBB333's videos, and I thought, oh hello, this could be the reason for the difference. Um, so I followed them for a little while, and then I took the plunge, and I actually bought one of these general UV 513 AB meters, which cost about $140. And I was quite pleased to see the same sort of readings he was showing in his videos. Um, and later on, I actually bought some of those UV credit cards, as you can see there. The one top right is the live reading I took on Sunday, and then I've inserted on the bottom there the from inside through a clean window, through the glass. So, and I reckon the bottom one there is showing that seems to closely match up with the high reading. And then the top one is obviously clearly darker, so perhaps that is between the high and the very high. So I submitted a few of my readings to Mr. MB and used those. So I thought, right, well, we need to do something about this. We need to let the general know about this. So I thought the best way to do that was to create a White House petition, and this is the draft of the petition. And I actually sent Mr. MB the first one I sent him. I didn't get a response, so I thought, oh hello, why? I wasn't sure what was going on there, but I gave it a day, and then I tightened up the language a bit, and I wanted to give him, full credit, because obviously we have owe him thanks for highlighting this issue. So you might want to pause the video there so you can fully read that. But basically what I'm saying is, yeah, well, we appear to be seeing much higher UV levels than what are being reported on the weather channels. So I sent him this draft image, as I wanted to get his response before I published it. But the email he sent back to me was rather disturbing, to say the least, as you will see. And actually, I have it in my history. Let me find it. So let me zoom in here so you can read it, and I'll actually read it out to you as well. So he says, "Hi Daniel, we are still collecting data. Little early to be doing things like this. We are still learning. Don't put my name on anything, as I'm still in the middle of a study. It's not my intention to start rocking the boat. So if that is yours, maybe you might want to consider doing readings on your own." So, as I say, this was highly unsettling. I thought, where's this coming from? Because he sounded really sincere at the end of his UV radiation videos, and the advice he gives is spot on. You should be covering up and obviously not skipping the suntan lotion. So I just couldn't understand where he was coming from, and it's also completely illogical. So if he started getting instead of I see the most views he's gotten is about 15,000. If he started getting 100,000 views on his videos, he would pack it up. I mean, no, that doesn't make any sense. So my initial thought was, okay, I'll just do this myself. But I started thinking a bit more, and I'm glad I did actually, because it turns out these readings, let me show you that picture again. composites. Those AB UV readings are not the UV index. There is not a great correlation between the two. So, and in his videos, indirectly and sometimes directly, he is comparing it to the UV index, and that is just not the case. The UV cards there may, obviously we don't know how accurate they are, but they say that they're trying to show you, give you an indication of the UV index, you know, going up to extreme. But that 11 figure, that is not indicating at all that that is in the extreme level of the UV index. That is a UV, supposed to be a UV A and B reading. But it actually turns out that isn't even the case either. Because if you look, let me show you the actual graphs of this meter, the responsivity graphs. So the left one there is the current one, and the one on the right is the older one. I mean, that sort of makes you wonder, how come they've got two different, quite different graphs there, but whatever. So I've added on there the UVB nanometer range, and then to the right of that is the UVA, which ends at 400. And also shaded the portion that the meter is picking up of UVB, and as you can see, it's just a very, you know, it's a small percentage of the overall figure that you're getting. So that is not useful at all. Perhaps as a UVA meter, maybe, but for showing even, you know, a mixture of UVB and A, it's not particularly good. But the crucial thing here is the UV index. The way it is, it's a calculated figure. That's actually where you weight the nanometer wavelengths based on studies that show the damaging effects of various wavelengths of ultraviolet on the skin and the eyes. And that is the chart that you can see in the bottom right hand corner there, where the rating scale is from 0 to 1. So they found the highest, the most damaging is at the 270 nanometer wavelength. So there you would take, you would just multiply the reading you get by 1. Whereas if you look at the UVA on the right side, it has no, as far as causing visible sunburn, it's just not a factor at all. And even UVB is, you're dropping off there. But so say the 300 nanometer wavelength, there that's about 0.55. So if you could take that wavelength, you would multiply that by the 0.55 to give you the correct weighting of that figure, and that is what is used to generate a UV index figure. So you can see, going back to the General Meters UVAB chart there, where it doesn't weight the values at all. You know, it's just reporting whatever it detects. So again, considering how little of the UVB spectrum it picks up, that meter is completely useless for that application. And I've actually been in contact with General over this, and yeah, I believe they are agreeing with me, and they're going to in the future amend their packaging and so on to remove this suggested application, because it's just not appropriate at all. But there is a little silver lining for MrMBB333 here, because the UVC meter, which costs a small fortune, you know, it costs like around $500. That, on the other hand, could still be very useful, and that is the graph in the bottom left. And what you'll notice is that is very nicely matching up with the weighted graph on the right hand side. So if he wants to continue doing these videos, showing the UVC levels will still be quite useful. But as far as that general meter, it's pointless really including that in the videos. In the past, some people do have the quite expensive, I think it's about $250, the UV index meter. And I was speaking to one of the representatives of that company, because I noticed the specification there saying it measures from 280 nanometers on upwards, but in fact, if you look at their own graph, the graph actually shows it measures part of the UVC spectrum as well. So if he wanted to include those readings, that would be quite helpful too, I imagine. So going forward, given that there is a peer-reviewed study that he highlighted that is confirming his findings that we are seeing UVC at ground level, I really do think, you know, the wider public needs to know about this. So I think there is mileage in doing this petition. Perhaps when we get some more quality UV index readings, that might be the point to try and get the wider public involved, you know, because they, you know, like children, I mean, obviously this is going to affect them more than adults, so we need to get the word out that they need to be like covering up as much as possible, and obviously using, you know, I'm going to start using SPF 50 as much as possible from now on, because like I play disc golf on a regular basis, so I'm like out in the sun for maybe a couple of hours, and I reckon the SPF 30 probably isn't cutting it. So yes, we need to cover up, you know, wear a hat, and don't forget the suntan lotion, and also we should be wearing sunglasses that block the UV radiation too, because yeah, these biological effects they measured again were for skin and eyes, so it is crucial that you protect your eyes as much as possible. And I do actually hope Mr. MB will carry on with his videos, because his video presentation skills are very good. So he is an excellent vehicle for getting the word out. But he just needs to, yeah, obviously explain that it turns out those general meters are just hopeless for that purpose. And move on from there. So bye for now.